And this is a book called Timeless Springs. It's a Soto anthology that many of you have seen. It's very interesting because it was published in 770. Oh, doesn't say. How weird. Oh, how peculiar. Copyright in Japan. Yeah, 1980. And what surprised me is that the introduction is given by the abbot of San Francisco at that time, 1979, Dick Baker. And I have never heard him talk. I've never read anything that he's written. So it's interesting what he has to say here. And also there's something interesting here that I'd like to read. And it's Keizan Jokin. Keizan is one of the main heirs of Dogen. And pretty much the person that popularized, if we could call it that, Dogen. And he says, I'll read a little bit, just out of, Keizan, we're familiar with him because he, he's in our, when we chant the ancestors, the way I don't know what we're doing nowadays, but we used to name him, of course, and also we use the transmission of the light, who was compiled by Keizan about all the ancestors and their enlightenment experience, with a poem by Keizan and a teisho by Keizan. And this is it's a piece called Zen Jinki. And it's not translated here what Jinki means. I'll read a little bit, and it gets a little bit weird. It's very strange and very non the way that we would look at things. But he starts by saying, Zazen just lets people illumine the mind and rest easy in their fundamental endowment. This is called showing the original phrase and revealing the scenery of the basic ground. Interesting way of putting it. Mind and body drop off, detach whether you're sitting or lying down. Therefore, we do not think of good or bad and can transcend the ordinary and the holy, pass beyond all conception of illusion and enlightenment, leave the bounds of sentient beings and Buddhas entirely. So putting a stop to all concerns, casting off all attachments, not doing anything at all. The six senses, inactive. Who is this? Whose name has never been known? Cannot be considered body, cannot be considered mind. When you try to think of it, thought vanishes. When you try to speak of it, word seems to come to an end. Like an idiot, like an ignoramus, high as a mountain, deep as an ocean, not showing the peak or the invisible depths, shining without thinking. The source is clear in silent explanation. Occupying the sky and earth, one's whole body alone is manifest. A person of immeasurable greatness, like one who has died utterly, whose eyes are not clouded by anything, whose feet are not supported by anything. Where is there any dust? What is the barrier? The clear water never had front or back. Space will never have inside or out. Crystal clear and naturally radiant before form and void are separated. How can objective knowledge exist? He goes on like that. Yeah. The Buddha said, learning and thinking are like being outside the door. Sitting in meditation is returning home to sit in peace. How true this is. While learning and thinking views have not stopped and the mind is still stuck. That is why it is like being outside the door. But in this sitting meditation, zazen, everything is at rest and you penetrate everywhere. Thus, it is like returning home to sit in peace. An ancient said, when confusion ceases, tranquility comes. When tranquility comes, wisdom appears. It's interesting, there again. And when wisdom appears, reality is seen. When wisdom appears, reality is seen. It's interesting because in the way that we talk about prajna or wisdom is actually, we call that the seeing. Tranquility comes, wisdom appears. So in a certain way, he should be saying, he would be saying that when the mind is quiet, the body is quiet, wisdom, prajna appears. You see, in that sense, you see. And when wisdom appears, reality is seen. And then he goes somehow a step further and talks about reality. I guess it's a step further. When wisdom appears, reality is seen. When wisdom appears, the reality of the great prajna, knowledge of and realization of no self. It was interesting because it sort of struck me that the order of things that he has written there, of course, there's no order, no? But it struck me the way that Keizan mentions that. If you want to put an end to your illusion, you must stop thinking of good and bad and must give up all involvement in activity. See, the translation might not be very good here, I don't know. Must give up all involvement in activity. The mind not thinking and the body not doing is the utmost essential point. When delusive attachments end, illusion dies out. When illusion dies out, the unchanging essence is revealed. You are always clearly aware of it. It is not absolute quiescence. It is not activity. What is interesting, of course, is that words are used in different senses at different times, so we can make out what he's saying. And this is something that struck me as was kind of weird. Hence, you should avoid all arts and crafts. Where did that come from? Medical prescriptions and augury. Augury, I guess, is the divination of the future. Is that augury? Yeah. So you should avoid all arts and crafts, medical prescription and augury, as well as songs and dance and music, disputation, meaningless talks, and honor and profit. Though poetry and song can be an aid to clarifying the mind, still you should not be fond of making them. To give up writing and calligraphy is the superior precedent of people on the way, the best way for harmonizing the mind. Should not be attracted to either fine clothing or dirty rags, etc. It's when sitting in sasen, do not lean against any wall, meditation brace or screen. Do not sit in a windy place or up in a high exposed place. These are causes of illness. When sitting in meditation, your body may seem hot or cold, uneasy or uncomfortable, sometimes stiff, sometimes loose, sometimes heavy, sometimes light, sometimes startled, awake. This is all because the breath is not in tune and needs to be tuned. The way of tuning the breath is as follows. Open your mouth, letting the breath be, long or short, gradually harmonizing, following it for a while with a sense of awareness. When a sense of awareness comes, breath is then in good tune. After that, let the breath pass naturally through the nose. I want to read some of Dick Baker Roshi's thing. I think it's interesting. I want to express my deep gratitude to Dr. Thomas Cleary for his compassionate understanding of and great care in translating these records of a Zen Buddhist lineage. I want to express my gratitude to my teacher, Shunryu Suzuki Roshi, an heir of this lineage. How are we to understand these stories as biographies, as teachings? To really recognize these stories, this lineage as your own face, you yourself will have to practice. Practice is to recognize and act on the truth of each moment. Practice is to recognize and act on the truth of each moment. Or rather, practice is to try to practice, to try to act on the truth of each moment. This book can be a teacher and can be everything around you if you know how to bring things to life, to truth, if you know how to tap everyday life. One day when Wei Shang Ling Jiao was attending Bai Shang asked, "Who are you?" "I'm Ling Jiao." Bai Shang said, "Will you look in the brazier and see if there are any hot coals left?" Wei Shang looked and poked around, and he said, "No, there are none." Bai Shang got up, took thongs, and poked deep into the fire pot. He came up with a glowing charcoal. "Is this not a hot coal?" With this, Wei Shang awakened. He had known he was only provisionally Ling Jiao. But he was not the one who found the hot coal. He had not understood that emptiness is form. Bai Shang said, "The method I just used is only for this occasion. It is not the usual approach. To realize our Buddha nature, we must wait for the right moment and the right condition. When the time comes, it is like awakening from a dream. If something long forgotten was remembered, we realize that what is obtained in our own is our own and not from outside ourselves." How can we extract the hot coals from this book? Dogen Senji said, "Please keep in mind that the Buddhas and patriarchs express the real selves in the everyday activities of drinking tea and eating rice." He also said, "Do not think that there's no drinking of tea or eating of rice after taking a meal. This is meaningful due to study. There is no Buddhist way besides this. We must not seek to borrow the power of the Buddhas and ancestors." Jojo asked, "What is the way?" Nanshuan said, "Every mindedness is the way." Is it possible to approach it? If you approach it intentionally, you will miss it. A teacher is a person who waits for you outside your agenda. I like this thing he says. A teacher is a person who waits for you outside your agenda, outside the script into which you are always trying to write the world. The disciple is a home leaver without a course, but the water has the power, which cannot be taken away from it, to find its own course. Each disciple, each committed student of Buddhism, is water finding its own course. This course is entered and renewed by a life of sustained awareness, personal integrity, and non-attachment. It is a stream that carries from Buddha until the present day. The Buddhist haiku poet Basho said that the poet must be empty and direct enough to become one with the source of inspiration on every moment. And expression should feel effortless and have a sense of eternity. This is to express the particular without violating the absolute, to tap everyday life. It is in this sincerity of each moment we find our own unique flowering. The rare and true gift, each moment is unrepeatable, unpredictable, and uniquely simultaneous with other events. The entire universe is just one direction, neither east nor west, nor up or down. This is the path that is the space between our fingers, before our noses, the path for which there are no guides other than our spontaneous, unhesitating intention, our actual life of non-attachment by which we see the real form of the universe, of the world, by which we find the fullness of the experience we have now without fear or possessiveness. This is called treading the hidden path or meeting no one on the ancient road. You will find that conscience is the root, purity and clarity of consciousness. And when the given is not taken for granted, you will find practice and the use of necessity.